Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, standing in for Adam McCullough. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. With me is Stephen Howson. Steve, mate, this is our third home defeat of the season now, out of 4. We've taken 1 point. What's going on?
Something's going on. It's a weird contrast between the level of performance that we've put in the Champions League, which has been genuinely good performances, and the performances in the league, particularly at home, have been so far short of good. It's hard to say that this is the same team with the same manager, and I honestly wish I knew what the situation was, because I had my reservations about the formation, but when I looked at the personnel, you're like, well, that's pretty much the best we've got available. It's more than capable of beating an Arsenal team. You know, there was no one that you're like, oh, why is he playing De Gea up front? Like, I think the general consensus in the office prior to the match was, that's a good team. So what happened?
Yeah, you're right about, we looked at the team, we're like, oh yeah, okay, we're happy with that. But you could see early on it wasn't working. We were doing a watch-along, you were doing a watch-along, and you were pointing out the issue and the problems. Now, no disrespect to you, but if you can see them, why didn't Ollie see them? You know, I'm a massive Ollie fan, but surely he's got to take some of the blame here, because it just isn't good enough. And today wasn't good enough, and I'm sick of saying this.
No, it wasn't good. The things that I noticed yesterday, Friday actually, when we did the preview, was you watch Arsenal, you watch us. It was the same thing that I watched with RB Leipzig. It was the same thing that I saw prior to the Champions League game against them, and we actually saw it in the Champions League game against them. And when I said I don't want to play the diamond, I want us to try and go for this in a different kind of way. I see a frailty and a vulnerability when you can double up. Now, all right, none of their goals came from that, but you can't tell me that they weren't creating chances by doubling up on our fullbacks, because that's exactly what they were doing. They was doing that at will, and if it wasn't for a cheeky little touch from Lindelof, we would have been a goal down with Lacazette's. So defensively, like at the start of the game, I was like, look, okay, you have to give something to get something. Now, what I thought we were giving up, if you use this formation, what I thought we might give up using the formation is maybe some structure in attack, maybe more personnel, more people flooding forward. We didn't get any ball in the final third whatsoever.
Everyone's going to be talking about him, everyone already is. And, you know, normally I don't want to make it all about him, but you have to look at it because he gave away the penalty, and it was a pretty, in my opinion, abject performance by him. Paul Labille, Pogba. I mean, what's going on? We spoke about he wasn't well because of COVID. He was maybe rushed back into the side. But now, physically, I mean, he looks good. He just doesn't seem, I don't know, he just wasn't great today. And, again, it seems like we're having this conversation about the same things.
I don't think it was a penalty.
Right, okay.
I think it was very, very, very soft. Contact isn't a foul. It's a contact sport. You're allowed to make contact. It's whether you impeded them or not makes it a foul. I don't think it was a penalty. Right, you can argue about contacts all day long. Arsenal and Arsene Wenger made a whole dossier about why helmet face didn't dive. What was it called, Eduardo? Because it was contact. It doesn't matter.
That aside,
yeah,
right?
that aside.
Okay, that aside is
not
performance.
A penalty. His performance was shit. For want of a better word, his performance was shit. He was second to every ball. He created nothing. He wasn't getting on the right. I don't think he got the opportunity to get on the ball, certainly in the first half, where I thought he could have been effective. Maybe it was match sharpness. When we started making substitutions, I think we was discussing on the watch-along, Pogba's got to be one of these. And he wasn't. Now, and that was before the penalty. And then after the penalty, he carries on making his substitutions. He's like, it's definitely going to be... It's not Paul Pogba. Why? I don't understand why. And I'm not saying necessarily that Bruno being left on the pitch instead of Paul Pogba, but you take off Bruno and you take off Greenwood, who's getting your goals, Jay? You bring Cavani on, all right, sound. Who's going to feed him? Where's your goals coming from? Because Mason Greenwood's one of our most creative players. Bruno, it needs no explanation, is one of our most creative players. Where are your goals going to come from if you've pulled off your most creative players and you're dealing with, all right, Paul Pogba has got the ability to be able to do this. But as I said on the watch-along, at this moment in time, right now, who's more likely to get you a goal? Paul Pogba or Mason Greenwood? The only answer is Mason Greenwood. So yeah, I think Ollie got this one wrong.
Just finally, do you know what, right? I'm not even going to blame the ref, right? Because they were fouling us and getting away with it. But do you think sometimes United need to be a bit better at the dark arts? Because
totally.
Arsenal got away with that, and it was clever.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. They did what they needed to do to get an authority in that midfield by kicking people and getting away with it. And then by the time Mike Dean's getting his cards out, it's our players that are getting booked. Do you think United maybe need to be a bit cleverer?
100%. When we talk about leadership, the leadership isn't always necessarily your screaming at people. That's not necessarily leadership. Leadership is you taking ownership of situations and trying to make things happen. We saw when Matic came on the pitch, he's immediately asking for things. And even if he doesn't get it, and even if they don't go to it, what he's done is at least put doubt in the referee's mind. Listen, mate, you got that wrong then. And it's a polite way of putting things to referees. There was also other things that Matic was doing once he came on a pitch. Matic is a very experienced winner. And we massively lack that when he's not in the team. Harry Maguire's not a captain. Matic would have been a better captain for Manchester United, but he's never going to play in every single game. He doesn't have the fitness for that. But it highlights how badly we miss those sorts of players. We've seen Bruno Fernandes be cute at times, and people call it shithousery, and people call it something. It's fucking leadership, Jay, is what it is. You got to win a game, however you have to win a game. Ronaldo mentioned it at half-time in the watch-along. There's certain things that we saw Arsenal doing that I ask him to do. And he calls it the dark arts. It's not necessarily the dark arts. It's playing to the full width of the rule book is what it is sometimes. We know that this is how you're supposed to play football. But you can go to here in the rules. So why don't you do it? And that's what it seems like United don't have none of that cuteness. Like I always go back to that corner that Ryan Giggs and Wayne Rooney took. And he took it. It's playing to the full limit of the rules. It's knowing football that deep that you know that these little exploitations exist. It's the throwing against your opposite, one of your teammates' backs to continue playing because you're struggling getting out of a certain area. There's none of that nous, none of that cuteness in this United team. And Jose Mourinho said it in that brilliant documentary, All or Nothing on Spurs. You got to be cunts. You're too nice. We ain't got enough cunts.
We haven't got enough cunts. United haven't. Anyway, you might argue differently on this channel, but don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. That's been Stephen Howson. I've been Jay Motti. This has been Stretford Paddock. The rain's starting to pour, both literally and metaphorically. Thanks for watching.